Welcome, you guys. Welcome to the Heal Black Joy podcast. Hi, I'm Lola Troy, the host and curator of Heal Black Joy, the learning platform for our black to heal our black joy with tangible and attainable programs for the mind, body, soul, relationships, and businesses. And in today's conversation, you guys, we are going to be talking about be bold, be brave, be confident in our power to pivot. And today, you guys, my guest is so special. Her name is Kai Patterson. She's a mother, a veteran, a speaker, a coach, a model, and business owner who is dedicated to helping others identify their purpose, become more successful in both their personal and professional lives, walking in their authentic greatness. With years of experience from serving 25 years in the military, the United States Marine Corps, and the Army. She's a bad lady, honey. To large teams she built in the network marketing space, leading several organizations of thousands and working diligently with other mentorship coaching programs, which has now led her to birth of own Boots to Purpose Incorporated, a nonprofit organization based in Atlanta, Georgia. Kai is also a Dr. Les Brown prodigy, having worked with and been mentored directly by one of the world's most renowned motivational speakers, Dr. Les Brown. You guys know about him. Oh my God. So Kai believes in the power to pivot, making a mental mindset, emotional, and physical shift to achieve one's dreams and goals. Her captivating spirit and heart always draws attention to uplifting, empowering, and inspiring the masses. I'm going to get her in on our Instagram. How are you, Miss Lady?
Hey. I am amazing. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
Feedback.
I'm doing so good. It's so good to talk to you. I want to at least say hello to all of my Instagram followers. Thank you guys for tuning in each and every week. You guys, we've been doing something really different. Um, we actually have started going live on Facebook as of last week. And so we've been trying to get it together. Hopefully you guys can bear with us when we get these technical difficulties going on. But thank you guys for tuning in. I cannot wait to get into this conversation with Miss Kai. So we got to start, like we were just talking about, as Black women, as women in general, but specifically Black women.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this season at Heal Black Joy is about being bold, being brave, being confident. And that's in all areas of our lives. I dedicate this to my late and great, she was my life coach. Her name was Latanya Tibbs, and her legacy is going to live on through my podcast. This is dedicated to her because she lived out loud, boldly, confidently, brave, just as a brave soul. And I wanted to dedicate this season to her because she changed the trajectory of my life, and she changed the trajectory of so many other women's lives. And so I wanted to talk to bold, brave, confident Black women that show up in their lives full, you know what I mean? Not just existing, but full of life and just doing it to the hilt. And you're just one of those people. So I'm so excited about having this conversation with you. So when you think about being bold, when you think about being brave, when you think about being confident, that little girl, that little version of Kai, when did it start? Did it start when you were younger, or did you have to develop your boldness, your greatness, your confidence? Where did that start for you?
Well, first off, before I start, I want to just thank you, Heal Black Joy, for this opportunity and sharing your incredible platform. You are truly touching a lot of lives. So I am so honored to just be here in this space with you. And as far as when it started, And it's funny you're asking because do you hear background noise? Do you hear echo?
I don't hear an echo.
Okay, hold on. I think I'm messing something up on my phone. But anyway, when it started for me, um, and I'm actually, my book will be coming out soon. So you all will hear a lot about this if you get my book. But it started for me looking back now. One has been a journey, right? It's
Mm,
not something that you just wake up and it happens. But yes, it did start in my childhood. And as a child, we don't realize how bold we are. Oftentimes, that boldness is frowned upon as um, almost like you're stubborn or a little disgruntled, or as they used to say, where I'm from, hard head. But it's because you're bold and you're confident in what it is you want to do or you believe you want to do. And I remember my mom used to say I was stubborn because if there was something I was interested in, I would I would rather be disciplined than
yeah,
to change my mind. And
yeah,
so reflecting back on that, I realized that it was something that not only that I picked up as a child, but there was some people that I saw as a child that brought that out in me. Meaning there were things that I liked about other people, and I was like, wow, I want to do that. I want to
yeah.
be like that. So yeah, I think it started as a child, but it's the journey, right?
It's a journey.
It's a process, and you learn different aspects of being bold, being confident as you get older.
Mm. So when you think about being bold, being brave, like a lot of times as Black women, we, because we were raised a certain way, especially I grew up in the Bible Belt South. So was it, like you said, it was frowned upon to have that boldness as a child. Sometimes that boldness in kids can come off as this person is being sassy, or this child is, being too grown, and
Mhm.
sometimes they've been here before, right? The spirit
Right.
of that person, the
Yes.
essence of that person has been here before. And I don't think sometimes that they're trying to be grown. I think sometimes they're just inquisitive because they're not necessarily around people that are like them. And like you said, you find other folk that you're like, oh my God, this is my tribe. I see the boldness in them. I want to, emulate some things that I see in them. um who was that person in your childhood? Was it like a friend? Was it like a lady? Who was that person that was bold to you, that brought that out in you, that you were like, oh my God, I want to kind of emulate that?
It's two people in particular. One just passed away recently, God rest her soul. But it was actually two where I really saw it on a totally different level. It was two teachers.
Mm,
One during my middle school, my junior high years, and the other one was during my senior years in high school, or my high school years. Um, and it wasn't just the things they did, it was the boldness and how they carried themselves, the boldness and how they spoke. I was always different, right? I always said I look different. I come from a large family. I'm one of 9 children. I'm number
okay.
4, and my parents have been married approaching 52 years. So I always felt that I was the oddball out in my family, right? I was the black sheep, so to speak. So I stood out. I was tall, I was very thin, yet thin with curves. So I was picked on a lot. So I never looked like never felt like I looked like anybody or anything like that. And when I saw their boldness, to me, their statue and certain things that they did and how they carried themselves, I saw them embrace what I looked at as things that made me look different. I saw them embrace those type of things, and that spilled over into me. But again, it's a journey, right? Because even in my adulthood, I have found myself struggling at times with things that make me stand out, and you feel like you have to go back and remember, hey, you got to embrace that. You're different for a reason. You stand out for a reason. Those are the things that make you beautiful. Those are the things that make you different. You doing those things also shows that you exude a level of confidence within yourself. It's not confidence that you look to receive from anybody else. It's confidence that you're exuding yourself.
Right. I love it. I love it. We got to get into this military life, okay? Because first of all, you did 25 years in the U.S. Marine Corps and the Army. Like, What are you like, GI Kai? Like, what is going on right now?
It's
How
funny
do
you
you?
say that. It's 25 years and counting. So I'm still now on the reserve side. Yeah. So
Wow, that is awesome. So, what prompted you? Where did you start off first? Did you start off in Marine Corps? Or you start off in the Army?
I started off active duty Marine Corps first.
Okay, so I got to ask a question because I've always wanted to know this. When you do boot camp, did you have to do boot camp with both?
No.
Okay, I was going to say which one was harder. I got to dig in. Which one for you? Like, how did you have to show up in your bravery as far? Because I know as a woman, it's not typical. I'm sure when you enlisted, it was probably kind of taboo at the time for a woman to join the Marine Corps.
Mm-hmm.
What was the bravery in that prompted you to enlist in the Marine Corps? I have to know this.
Good question. So for me, I've always been competitive. I've always been an athlete. Basketball was my first and still is, was my first love. And again, you'll hear me share a lot of this in my book, but I always say basketball saved my life. And
Mm,
so upon graduating high school, it was a little different for me. Some things I experienced in my childhood put me in a position where I knew, one, in all reality, I knew my parents weren't financially in a place to be able to send me to school. Right, going through school, I've always been, again, competitive. For my grades, my parents never had to stay on me about grades. My classmates and I competed with each other. We literally competed not only we went through middle school, junior high, high school together. So we would compete to see who's going to be the valedictorian. That kept me going because I knew, again, I had to either be the star athlete or be one of the best athletes, and also had to have good grades to make myself more competitive to decide if I wanted to take an athletic scholarship or athletic. Either way, I would be able to put myself through school without putting that burden on my parents.
mm,
So the closer it got time for me to go to college, there was a shift. And that
mm,
shift for me was, I can't give away too many details, but again, because it's going to be in my book. But
yeah.
that shift for me was some things I experienced home. And when I say home, where I'm from, I'm not just singling out one thing, but home wasn't a good place for me, right? Again, I experienced some things, and I knew at that point my mindset was set on getting away. I knew if I went off to college, even, and I did have academic, and athletic scholarships offered to me. And one of my biggest ones was a basketball scholarship to Mississippi State. I did not take that. I chose to go into the military. I had developed an amazing relationship with my recruiters. They became like family to me. They was at all my games, even during my junior and senior year, my games and different things that I was involved in. And they really looked out for me. So when I signed up to go into the Marine Corps, I knew that would be my way of getting out and to be able to experience the world from a different lens. Uh,
Mm,
Going to college meant that we had summer breaks. I would have to come home. We would have
right.
holidays. I would have to come home. So I thought about all of that early on to know that the military would be the best move for me. And then I found out, you know, I didn't have to stop my love for basketball. I actually was able to play when I joined the military. I was on the All Marines basketball team, and I traveled playing in the Marine Corps as well. So what made me want to go into the Marine Corps, out of aside from all the other branches, was because the Marine Corps, not, it wasn't the uniforms for me. Most people be like, oh, the dress blues. It was not the uniform. For me, that was the most challenging one. That was the one that anytime I heard someone reference it, it was always, well, the boot camp is too long, or
Right.
you got to go through all of this, or it's going to be hard. You got to be able to run. You got to maintain a certain look. I That made it more appealing to me. So I joined the Marine Corps, and I actually left 2 days after graduating high school, and I have not been back. I mean, outside of going home to visit. So I joined
Yeah,
the Marine
I
Corps.
think that is so amazing that you knew at an early age. I think it just lends to, you having that boldness at a very young age because, a lot of kids are not focused in school. A lot of kids get distracted by a lot of different things, and you took your situation saying, you know what, this might not necessarily be the best thing for me at home, but you had an end goal. Your end goal was to get out from where you lived, and that you going to college would have put you back there during the holidays. And so you were like, no, I got to get out. I got to experience the world, and I want to play basketball. I still want to remain competitive. But at the same time, ma'am, you decided, hey, I'm going to go for a challenge. I'm going to go to the hardest boot camp there is to enlist in, and that is the United States Marine Corps. And that was the reason why I asked, because I was going to say, I've heard that the Marine Corps boot camp is a lot harder than a lot of the others.
It
So I
is.
was just wondering if that was, in the back of your mind, like you wanted to be super competitive in that nature as well.
I did. I wanted to do. I always strive to be different, right? And I knew the Marine Corps was different. Um, and again, I knew that it could set me up to do things, to travel the world, to be able to impact lives. I've always wanted to change lives, but here's what I will tell you: even when me making that decision, I didn't have it figured out. I it was like I knew I was going to get away, but fear, right? I had no idea what that getting away looked like. I had no idea what to expect. I remember stepping off the bus on those yellow footprints and everybody's coming and yelling and all that. None of that affected me because my parents were strict. So in the back of my mind, I'm like, they can yell, they can do everything they want. They can't put their hands on me. So, and
Mm.
I will say, I made it an experience. I'm all about making whatever you experience in life an experience. And I did. I made it an experience. I had no military bearing. I was in the best shape of my life. Why? Because I had no military bearing, meaning I laughed at everything. So I stayed, we call it the quarter deck. I stayed on the quarter deck with all the push ups, the sit ups, every time you turned around because I laughed. I laughed at everything. And the crazy thing is, to this day, I still have a relationship with all of my drill instructors from the Marine Corps. As a matter of fact, my senior drill instructor, a few years ago, she retired. She did 30 years. She retired. She invited me to her retirement, but we went back to Paris Island, South Carolina. We went back to the yellow footprints, and it was an emotional experience, but I was so grateful because me making a decision to join the Marine Corps and to leave home was the starting point of me being where I am now.
That is amazing. Like when I think about pivot, we were talking about this before we got on, and I want to speak to those of you who are in situations that keep you in this comfortable state of mind and state of being. And as a Black woman specifically, we do not, we are so scared to make that choice, that pivot, to be bold and brave and confident in our decision to pivot. Sometimes it's relationships, sometimes it's our family, sometimes it's our love relationships,
Mhm.
sometimes it's our job, sometimes it's our business, sometimes it's making the decision to not stay in a city and go to another location. But we don't feel confident enough or brave enough to make that decision to pivot. And I love how you had this end goal in mind, and regardless of what was going on at home, regardless of your scenario or your situation at home, you were brave enough to say, you know what, I'm going to do this, and I don't even know what it is yet. I don't have all of the answers of what it's going to look like, what it's going to be. Sometimes you got to go in. You just got to make a decision to pivot, and God will like light the path up for you as you're going along. Would you agree to that? Is
I
that what
totally
happened
agree.
for you?
I totally agree. And one of the other things too, when we was talking about the power to pivot, oftentimes, yes, we will stay on jobs, as we were saying. We will stay in relationships. We will stay, you may stay in the same area knowing that God has given you a vision to relocate, but because of you're comfortable. And sometimes even as adults, we will put ourselves in a bubble and feel like we need permission to pivot. Like someone has to tell you, you know what, it's okay for you to go and do something else. And that, again, it's a part of the process. But that's also you being able to put yourself in a position to not only challenge yourself, but surround yourself with other people who will push you into pivoting versus
Mm,
people surrounding yourself with staying close to people who are comfortable with you being where you are.
mm. I put in the banner. Do you need permission to pivot? You got to ask yourself, why do you think, Kai, that people need permission? We always are like asking our friends, asking our moms, asking our boyfriends, our husbands. We got to ask everybody else when God gives us an internal compass and tells us most times when we're supposed to make a move or make a decision. But we got to get all this outside validation, right?
Mhm.
um how important is it for you, as a Black woman, as a business owner, as a person who speaks and motivationally speaks to people, how important is it for you to not have to have permission from anybody else?
It's very important because, again, when God gives you a vision, he gives it to you. He don't give it to anybody else. So even when you go and you share things that he's dropped in your spirit for you to do, and you see it, you know it, you feel 100% confident, we will still find ourselves going and talking to our friends or going and talking to somebody like we need validation from them or we need permission to them. Or most times it's like, well, what do you think about this? Like we want their opinion, right? However, their opinion will completely sway your decision. It will
Right.
cause you to rethink what God has dropped in you. And I always say, God gave you the vision. He didn't give it to anybody else. And when he gave you the vision, he already knew you was equipped with all the tools you needed to bring that vision to fruition.
That's
So
so true and so powerful. That is so true and so powerfully said. Um, I think that it's important for people to understand that. I don't think a lot of people know that when God puts something in your spirit, put something on you to do, and you don't move, and then you have to ask everybody, you're teeter tottering. It's like you're delaying the process. When God said move, you got to move, and like, and you also have to have a level of faith, right? What was your level of faith when you decided, hey, I'm going to get into the military, or hey, I'm getting ready to switch from the Marine Corps to the Army? What was that journey like for you switching, and why did you switch?
the journey was a simple journey. It was an easy journey or easy decision for me to switch. And here's why. When I got out of the Marine Corps, I thought that I felt like I was done with the military. I was over it. Um, I had served my country. I did my time, did 8 years, and I was done, right? And I did eight active. I'm sorry, I did four active, four reserve. I
Mm-hmm.
felt like I was done. But once I finished, even though I had stepped into a totally different career, which was in law enforcement, um, I went into law enforcement. Why? It wasn't something I was passionate about. It was something that was easy. Anytime anybody transitions from the military, law enforcement opportunities are like readily available to take you on because they know you have the best training. They know you're physically fit. They know you can pass different tests, and they know you're disciplined, right?
Right.
So I got into law enforcement. I actually started working in the prison system first. Started working in the prison system. Coming out of the Marine Corps, I was at a max security prison here in Georgia, and of all people, I started, working at lockdown. They had a boot camp there, so the boot camp was structured similar to the Marine Corps, which I felt it. I loved it, teaching that structure and discipline and all of that. However, again, I worked lockdown. I was actually one of the only females that worked lockdown. So going in with the CERT team and the tax squad, all that physical stuff, I did that kind of stuff. But even in doing that, I still felt like something. I wasn't satisfied, right? So that's when I started thinking about, well, maybe if I went back into the military, or maybe if, because the military had, and this is how they would do a lot of us. We get so accustomed to the benefits and all these things that come with the military, that military way of life. And again, this is while you're still teetering around, walking in your purpose. So that's how I transitioned. So I got out of the Marine Corps, started working in law enforcement, realized I kind of missed certain things about the military, and I went back. I actually went back into the Georgia National Guard because I'm here in the Georgia area. Went into the Georgia National Guard, did not like it with the passion. It was, and if this is the thing, it wasn't what I was accustomed to in the Marine Corps. It was too lax. So I did that. Thank God they had what's called a try one. I did the try one, got out right after that. And then I was like, I know it's something different. So I started talking to the Army recruiters and realized the Army was more similar to the Marine Corps. I would have went back into the Marine Corps, but the Marine Corps standards are their standards, their policies, everything is the same. They don't care if you've been out a year, 10 years. You still need to make sure you're in compliance with your weight, all these different things. And which I was, but however, they were not taking prior service. So there's a time where they open up and they take prior service, and then there's a time where they don't. So they weren't taking prior service. So I went into the Army. Once I went into the Army, I did started on the reserve side, enjoyed the unit. I made a career change there doing IT cybersecurity because that's what I was getting my degree in. And then forensics, and then it went into IT cybersecurity. Started doing that, enjoyed it, and that's how I ended up in Army. And no,
Wow.
I didn't have to do any training over except for the new job for the Army, although I had my degrees in it and certs, but I did not have to go back through a basic training or anything like that because the Marine Corps boot camp encompasses all the other branches. That's why it's 3 months long. So you have to do whatever's required in the Air Force, certain things that's required in the Navy and the Army. We do it all in the Marine Corps.
Wow. Let me ask you a question. You have lived several lives all in one, right? And you are just this beautiful person inside and out. But I know that you also model. Like, how do you go from being this badass, military person, right? You're a veteran, you're a mother, you're a speaker, you're a coach, you're a model, you're a business owner. All of those require so many different types or different facets of you being a woman. And I love this about you because we've always been told that, oh, stick to one thing, right? Do this one thing and do it well and prioritize that one thing. And what people don't realize is there are a lot of folk that have the ability, the talent, and the gift to do more than one thing. We were taught that is a construct. It's an antiquated construct. I don't believe it. I'm not a person that abides by that particular belief because I sing, I write, I speak, I coach, I'm a mom, you know what I'm saying? And I do all of it. I'm a trainer, I'm a healthcare IT trainer, but I'm also another type of trainer. And I believe that I do most of those jobs very well, right? Just like you do most of those things that you do very well. Did you along the way, getting in the military, getting out of the military, doing things that are not necessarily quote unquote the right thing for a woman or a Black woman to do? Did you have a lot of apprehension? Did you have a lot of people telling you that you shouldn't do it or that you can't do this or you shouldn't try to do that? You need to stick to one thing. Did you have any apprehension?
So that's a good question. I did have apprehension, but the apprehension didn't come from people telling me that I couldn't do it. It actually came from me thinking and believing that I couldn't do all of those things.
Whoa.
Yeah, so
Okay.
that's why I say again, it's a journey. We have our highs and we have our lows, right? And oftentimes things we experience will cause you to sometimes think those negative thoughts that can keep you stagnant and not operating fully in your purpose. Regardless of how I was feeling, my prayer every day is, God, just show me who I'm supposed to serve. Show me who I'm supposed to be a blessing to. Most people think when they say, who am I supposed to be a blessing to, that it's financial. No, there's various ways that you can be a blessing. So I got into modeling when I was in high school. One of my she was my teacher. She was my basketball coach, one of my basketball coaches, but she was also she was into pageants. And so I have always loved giving back to the community. And I remember there was a fashion show or something that she was putting on for at-risk youth or at-risk teens. And it was like my senior year. And no, yeah, it may have been like my junior year in high school. But anyway, again, I always thought I was the odd person in my family. I didn't look like everybody else. I did have low self-esteem. I never thought I was attractive. You know, I was referred to as olive oil because I was so thin. I had these big old buck eyes and, you know, all these little, I had all these little things, right?
Yeah.
So when she asked me to model, I had the height. I mean, I'm 5'10" and a half. So I had the height to model, yet although I was thin, that's when I first learned that in the world of modeling, it's changed now because you have way more curvy models than you used to back in the day. But
Right.
back in the day, they were super thin. I was very thin, but I had a butt. So me having a butt and being curvaceous, so to speak, it was frowned upon, right?
Right.
When I found out designers don't want you to draw attention to you when you're modeling their garments. They want you're a hanger. Like they want it to just fall on you because they don't want the attention off of the garment. So I didn't think that I was fit, although she saw it in me and she got me into modeling then. It wasn't until later that I started hearing that. So it kind of deterred me a little bit and I got out of it. So after I had my son, I was married at a young age. I had my son. And then when I came off active duty, came out of the Marine Corps, I was getting approached by so many people asking, do you model? Would you get into modeling? And I never thought about entertaining it again because I wasn't thin. But I was much heavier. I was definitely a plus model. But I found that one, my level of confidence was better, was stronger. And I got way more jobs as a plus model. Like
Wow.
literally, my career definitely took a turn for the better as a plus model. And then I started losing weight because I've always been a health and wellness advocate. I've always been an athlete. Um, so I started losing weight, and on this weight loss journey, which I tell people it's a lifestyle. Um, then I started being looked at as, well, you're not really a plus model anymore. You're more what's called a vixen model. And I didn't like that title. I didn't like the curves. Like, that's one thing about me. I have always felt some type of way about curves. I used to wear clothes that were like way bigger than what I needed because I didn't want to show my shape. I didn't want to show curves or what have you. So fast forward to today, I still model. I'm actually the face and the brand for Kina Bella luxury loungewear. But I've been modeling for years. I've done New York Fashion Weeks and different things like that. I've modeled for a lot of amazing people. Two of my favorite, well, I actually have three, but two of my favorite designers who may do a lot of work with me is Rico Chappelle and Velas, and she's also the founder and the visionary behind Kina Bella Luxury Loungewear, which is now not only we're all now in Walmart worldwide, so you can always find us.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I love how you are giving us. My podcast is going to actually change, and I'm gonna roll it out in September. But the name of it is going to have a little blurb after Heal Black Joy, because I like the contrast of not only the highs of our life, but also the lows of our life. Because how can you really say that this is a high if you've never experienced a low, right? Mm-hmm. So you're telling me and telling us about you're being bold, you're being brave, you're being confident, but you're also throwing in there those times where you weren't as brave, where you weren't as bold, and you weren't as confident about yourself or your body. So I love that. This is fitting in right now. Some of our Facebook users and our Heal Black Joy tribe members, they're on and they're like, wow, this is amazing. Thank you for your service. One, I should have started off there by saying thank you, one, for your service. She said on Facebook, it says, yes, you do it all very well. That's what I've admired about you over the years, Lola Troy. Oh, well, thank you about that. Someone says it's a lucrative business, plus size modeling. Absolutely. And yes, of course. So people are not only understanding the boldness and the bravery that you had to have coming from where you came from, but also the competitiveness. I love this competitiveness that you have. Where did you get that from? Where did your competitiveness come from?
It actually, I actually don't really know because I've been competitive. You know what? It started in my childhood. So again, for me, knowing in order for me to get out, I had to figure out how I was going to get out of where I was, right? I grew up very poor. Um, and with that being said, I knew once I realized how much I love basketball so much that I ran away from home, y'all. When I was in the sixth grade, was it sixth grade? I can't remember that. I was playing pee wee basketball, and I knew my mom, my parents were strict, but my mom was very strict. Okay, and so I remember I knew I was going to get a whipping, y'all. I did not even care. I literally wrote a little note and said, listen, I know I'm going to get in trouble when I get home, but I found a way to the school. And the game was an away game, right? I found a way to the school and then got on that bus. I had forged my mama's signature saying, giving me permission to go because I wanted to play basketball.
Right,
And
right.
even during the weekends or whatever, I always made sure my chores and stuff were done so that I can go over to the basketball court. I grew up playing on the dirt basketball court, right? And play with the guys. So playing with the guys made me competitive because they weren't easy on me because I was a girl. They
Right.
played me just like I was one of the guys. So in doing that, I think that's where it sparked, right? For me to be competitive. And again, realizing at that point, nothing's going to be given to you. If you want it, you got to go out here. You got to work for it. You Plan 21 and all of the games we used to play, or when all the kids who were really good would come out and play. If I wanted to be on somebody's team, I had to make sure they knew that I just wasn't some little girl out there that's trying to run around for exercise. I had to earn my spot.
You had
And
to earn it.
I grew up believing that in anything you want to do, you have to show up and show out. And you have to make sure you show up first for yourself, not for anybody
Oh,
else. If you show up for yourself, then you're going to show up for everything else.
I love that. It reminds me of, I'm a big fan of the comedian David Arnold. He does this special like on Netflix. It's his latest special. And he talks about his family, which is totally hilarious. And he talks about how in today's time, he hates the fact that in competitive sports, they give out these participation trophies, right? Because what it does, it makes everybody feel like, you know, just because they participated, it gives them the ability to say, oh, I get a trophy, or I'm getting celebrated just for participating. Whereas in our time, you had to earn, your spot. You had to earn being on that team. You had to earn being able to play. And a lot of times I think, we've been so caught up in this, just somebody participating, it's made people be very, very lax competitively. They don't really, they just think that they're supposed to be celebrated because they show up. And it's like, no, you get celebrated when you actually are put to the test. Like Kobe was not, rest in peace to the Mamba, but Kobe was not a person who went out and just played lackluster. He went out to win. Michael Jordan went out to win. You know what I mean? And so I love the fact that you said you got to show up, and not only just show up, but show up for yourself, because once you get older, have you noticed that your team playing efforts that probably very much so transitioned into you being a team player while you were in the military.
Mm-hmm.
It also transitions into you not only being a business owner, but also leading several organizations, including thousands of organizations, not thousands of organizations, but thousands of people in organizations like network marketing. Anybody that knows anything about network marketing knows that it is super duper competitive. And for you to be a leader in that space lets me know how brave and how confident you had to be to do that, because I understand network marketing, never was good at it, but I understand how competitive it is. Talk to us about your life in network marketing.
Um,
And you don't have to say any names
oh,
or
of course I
anything.
won't. Being in the industry, or direct sales or the home based business industry, for me, I always tell people, when you learn something, it never really goes away, right? No matter where you go, skill sets are transferable. So what that means is, for me, it's just like me serving in the military or other things that I've done. I've always been passionate about helping people. And in those industries, most times it's always you can't get to where you want to go by yourself, period. Whether it's in network marketing, whether it's in your own companies, whether it's on a job, it takes a team.
Yeah.
And if you don't have the mindset to be able to give back and help others, one of the things I live by is, if you help enough people reach their goals, by default, God is going to ensure that you reach yours. So
That's
it
good.
doesn't matter what industry, what business, if it's entertainment, it doesn't matter what you're in. It's all about you. What is it you believe about yourself? What are you passionate about? Yeah, a lot of people can get into things like that and be able to have success, but they may not build a very strong team, right?
Right.
Because their mindset may just be on what's in it for me. I'm all about helping people. So if that's how God moved me to help people, I'm able to help people. If it's something else that He does, in anything that I do, I'm passionate about serving the community. How can I be a better person? Because I know being around others also helps me to be a better me.
Absolutely. I love it. I love it. Someone said, when she said modeling, I thought, dang, what don't she do? And then someone on my Instagram feed is saying, Kai is my Marine Corps basketball sister. So you got
Hoorah! I don't know who that is, but
Black Cat Mom. Black Cat Mom said that she is your Marine Corps basketball sister.
that
So
may sound like my point guard, Tiffany. We played
it's
together.
Black Cat Mom. That's her name on
Okay.
Instagram. So shout out to you for tuning in, and everybody that's tuning in on Facebook as well as Instagram. Um, and someone says, "Love me some Kai." Carla Watson said she love me some
Hey,
Kai.
Carla.
Yeah, man, I love this.
That's my girl.
You believe in the power to pivot, making a mental mindset, emotional, and physical shift. What would you say to those women that are stuck? Because sometimes we get stuck, and I did a show the other day about getting out of our own way, and I think we, particularly as women, as Black women in today's space with what's going on, we don't get a lot of. We're now just starting to see people or tangible evidence of Black women that are being bold, that are being brave and being confident and pivoting and getting out of corporate America and deciding, you know what, this is not for me. This is a lot of microaggression in corporate America. This is a lot of racial tension in corporate America. And they've decided to be bold. I'm not saying that everybody needs to jump ship. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, whatever that situation is for them, what do you say to those women that are stuck? They're sitting on an idea, or they're stuck in a dead end relationship, or they're stuck in a dead end job, or they're struggling emotionally, mentally, physically, and they just do not know how to push forward and pivot. What did you say to yourself to pivot? And what would you say to them to be able to pivot?
Okay. Good question. One of the things that I want to say first is, Pivoting is not a one-time thing. On this journey called life, you're going to have to pivot many times. Um, even for, even me, I recently, had a moment um, where I had to completely disconnect and pull away from everyone and everything. And it really helps to have a very strong support system, a strong sisterhood, relationships where people that truly love, value, and appreciate you will pour into you. They don't have to know the ins and outs of what's going on, but they know something isn't, something is off, right?
Right.
Something just
Yeah.
isn't right. So pivoting is an ongoing thing. However, when right before an amazing breakthrough is where you're going to find yourself in some of the darkest, deepest places. And that's because you're transitioning, right? It's
Yeah.
just like a butterfly, a caterpillar turning into a butterfly. Is that middle phase, that spot in the middle is always ugly. And oftentimes this is where it really takes a lot of faith, because you tend to think, because we're so used to figuring it out, that we already, like, we're trying to figure it out and we know what the end result is going to be. When you have those moments, for me, I am a woman of faith, I am a Christian. So for me, I know that's pulling away, getting still, going before God, like, okay, God, I need clarity, I need direction, I can't figure this thing out on my own. And he's going to give you exactly what you need. But even when he does that, we still question it. We still feel like, well, this isn't right. This can't be happening. I'm not supposed to do this. So pivoting is very uncomfortable. It's not pretty. It don't have the bow on it. But once you get on the other side of through and you look back, you'll realize, you know what? All that had to have happened, because had it not happened, it wouldn't have pushed me into starting my own business. It wouldn't have pushed me into relocating. It wouldn't have pushed me into starting this job. It wouldn't have pushed me into writing this book or
Yes.
starting this foundation or this organization. I would not be an entrepreneur right now had I not been pushed to pivot. And I always say, I talked to one of my mentors, because she and I talked years ago before this, at me being pushed actually happened. We literally talked on the phone on a Friday, and I had just poured out to her to say, I truly feel me working this job. It was an amazing job in cybersecurity, y'all. I was making great income, well in the six figures. And but I still was not happy. I was not fulfilled. I felt like I was being held back. And so we had a conversation on a Friday, and she said, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to put an exit strategy in place. We're going to focus on this exit strategy. And I was like, I just didn't feel right. And I said, okay, let's do that. We're going to put a 6-month exit strategy in place, and then we're going to transition from there. The weekend happened. I go into work on Monday. Corporate is here at my job from DC. I didn't know. Again, God will always give us the desires of our heart. Just because it don't look like how we think it is, he's not giving us what we asked for, right? We think it's
Right.
supposed to happen with the pretty bow. It's not going to be with the bow. Fast forward, that Monday, corporate is there. We have my first early meeting, meeting with Amazing, sent my team out to do what they had to do. Then there was another meeting. Now, here's the crazy thing. Again, I'm working in IT and cybersecurity. I had already been feeling something, and I had already started making moves to transition. What I mean by that, I had backed up all my stuff, that personal stuff that I needed on my laptop. I had done all these things and saved them on. I did all this stuff as if I was leaving. I had a second meeting, maybe about 3 hours after my initial meeting had completed, and they told me that they were downsizing. And me being in management, one of my position was one of the ones that they were letting go. And that was my last day there. I remember going out, getting in my vehicle. I cried for about 20 minutes. And after that, I let it go. Right. I made a couple calls. And it wasn't that I cried, because it wasn't that because they let me go. It was, again, fear, not knowing what's next. Okay, what am I supposed to be doing? Although it was a great severance, yada, yada, yada. Fast forward, I had said to myself, I'm going to give myself 6 months. It happened in February. I said, I'm going to give myself to September before I reapply for a job. Because I knew I could get a job with all my certs and my qualifications. I knew I could get a job.
Right.
I need you to be clear on what I'm supposed to be doing, what I'm purposed to do versus what I think I'm supposed to do. And so a couple of months later, something was shared with me, and fast forward to today, that has completely changed the trajectory of my life and so many other lives attached to me. Also, allowing me the ability to be able to help others and giving back and veterans and do a lot of women empowerment and helping those in need and feeding the homeless and so many different things. It has just really opened up for me to be able to do the things again that I purposed to do versus what I thought I was supposed to do.
That is big. That is the quotable for tonight. What I'm purposed to do. Because I think a lot of times what we do is we do what we choose to do and sometimes what we have to do. But are we doing what we're purposed to do? And I think that is the key, because why are we here? It's like there's several things on us being here. It's like we have to know who we are first. We have to know what we're here to do, what we're purposed to do. I love that. And the collective, how can we help? Because inside of knowing who we are and knowing what we're supposed to be doing, then we can actually step out and help the people that we're supposed to help, as you say, right? And a lot of times people don't know who they are, one, and they two don't know what they're purposed to do. They just doing what people have projected on them to do. They're doing what people have said, hey, you know what? I think you would be good at doing this. Granted, I was very good at math and science growing up. However, I almost flunked out of college because I was partying. Literally almost flunked out of college because I was partying. And although I was good at math and science, that was not my purpose. That was not my purpose. I wasn't passionate about it. I could have cared less about, putting numbers together and adding and subtracting and doing all of these things. I was great at it. But I had the mindset for it. But that's not what I was purposed to do. And I think a lot of times people get set in doing things that other people tell them they're good at, or what they think they're good at, and they don't even sit with God and say, God, hey, what is my purpose here? Why am I here? What am I supposed to be doing here? Side fire, my girlfriend calls it a side fire, meaning, on the road where you're supposed to be doing something, there's these side fires that's going on, and we're not paying attention to what's in front of us because we're so caught up in the side fires. Carla says, giving yourself permission to reset. So good. What are you purposed to do? Don't ever be afraid to make a decision, and never be afraid to make a mistake. Great stuff, Kai. Yeah. That is so true. What is our purpose? I think that is the quotable for tonight. What are we supposed to walk away, with this particular conversation? And that's asking ourselves, what has God purposed us to do? And when we make that pivot and we ask God that, those things start showing up in our lives.
And like she said, be okay making the mistakes, because there's always a lesson there. Don't look at it as a failure. There's always a lesson, that whether it's something that you'll use later, whether it's something that you'll be able to help somebody, a mistake that you can prevent somebody else from making. But there's always it's either going to be a blessing or a lesson.
Yeah.
And that comes with shifting the mindset, how you look at things, right? Do you look at the glass as half empty or being half full? And we hear that all the time. And give yourself grace. That's one of the things that I have realized. We don't give ourselves enough grace. One, we feel that the only way you can know that you're doing something good is when you hear it from somebody else. You have to start celebrating you and giving yourself grace, right? We're all human. No one is perfect. Everything really does happen for a reason. And I will tell you, at my age now, I am still learning that. So we have to be transparent. We have to always be authentic to be able to walk fully in our purpose, in our greatness. And it's not going to, again, it's not going to be easy. We're going to have the highs and lows, but who are you surrounded by? Who are you keeping close to you that's going to be able to pour into you as you're pouring out? And that's what I realized when I recently had my whole, it was a couple of months, you all, that I was really in a dark space. And even me being able to admit that now that I was in a dark space, before I would frown upon, look at that and frown upon it as a sign of weakness. And it's not weakness, right? But you are only supposed to give from your overflow, not
Mm.
your cup. So if you continue to give from what's within, as that what's in that cup goes further and further down to the bottom, so I didn't realize I was completely depleted until my cup was empty. And even as someone was trying to pour into it, I didn't even have the energy to receive the pour. So make sure you're always one taking care of you and surrounding yourself with people who are going to always pour into you. Sometimes it takes someone else believing in you until you can believe in yourself.
This is so good. This is so good. You guys, oh my goodness. I have a question.
Okay.
And it's just based off of what you just said. Um, when you're in that dark space, I've been there, you've been there. We've all had those moments. We've all had those valley moments where we're like, we don't know our name from anything. We don't know how to get out of it sometimes. Like when you're saying that your cup is empty, right? And maybe there's nobody around that can tell you about yourself, that can affirm you in those moments. What would you say to that young woman or that young man who feels they're in that dark space, right? We know that those emotions will change. We know that there's those highs and those lows of life. But when you're in that dark space, you don't know when you're going to get out of that moment, right? You don't even think that there's a place for you to get out of it. So, what do you say to that person who doesn't have that support system around them to help pull them out of that space? What do you say to that person? What do you say to that woman or that man who's in that dark moment right now? They don't know how to pivot. They're not motivated. They don't know what to say. They're mad at God sometimes. What do you say to those people?
Even though they may not feel that they have someone in their immediate um, reach, they do. It's just a matter of if you choose to reach out to them and ask for help. Because we're so used to being independent, we're so used to being strong, we're so used to how people always see us, right? With these shades on, right? They don't see the real us. We don't want people to see the real us, to see that we're vulnerable, that we've had a weak moment. So when you're in that valley and you're in that dark space, I'm learning this myself. It's okay to ask for help. Help doesn't mean that you're weak. Help doesn't mean that anybody's going to look at you any different. Help doesn't mean that you're not who you are. Help simply means that you've reached a place that you don't feel that you can get out of by yourself. And one thing I have said, I think came out of a positive that has come out of this pandemic is more people are now asking for help. People are not suffering in silence like they once were. If you're like me, the way I was raised to whatever you're dealing with, hey, you figure it out. Whatever go in the household,
Yeah,
stay in the
who's in
household.
the
You don't
household?
go outside. You don't ask for help. Therapy. Who needs therapy? We don't do therapy. I have a therapist. Okay. Get help. Ask for help. There's actually a new phone line. Oh my God, I can't remember the 3-digit number, but you can literally dial these 3 digits from your phone now to seek help. And again, it doesn't take anything away from you. It doesn't make you look any different. It's just saying that you're human and
Mm-hmm.
you're having a moment, because it is a moment and this too shall pass.
Yeah.
So just, if you don't feel that you have someone in your immediate circle, there are resources available to get you what it is that you need. Don't ever feel like you have to go through whatever you're dealing with by yourself.
Yeah.
Somebody else has already gone through it and they've grew through it.
Yeah. That's big. That's big. And I know that you're right that this pandemic had people this pandemic was a lot of negative for a lot of people. But
Mhm.
what I think it has done is it exposed our vulnerability.
Mhm.
It exposed our vulnerability. Um, I don't know what happened here.
Yeah, I see it just ended.
It just ended. I'll deal with that. It just exposed our vulnerability, and I think that in exposing our vulnerability, people, like you said, were basically like, I need some help. I've been at home all this time. I am struggling. I need somebody to help me, because we were all at home, and it was whatever was going on with you, it just got multiplied. Because if you were sad, it got multiplied. If you
Mhm.
were, restless, that restlessness got multiplied. If you were having issues with your family, your relationship, your kids, your husband, your wife, that thing got multiplied, because now you're in this space where you have to sit still. A lot of people don't like to sit still.
But you know what? I have a habit of always trying to find the positive in regard, doesn't matter how bad the situation is. I said God has a way of forcing us to sit still. God has a way of making us deal with some things that we may have been able to compartmentalize for a very long time. So I feel like God set, in a way, set the world down.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. I think it was time for us to, we were so busy,
Yep.
like you were saying, we weren't being productive, we were being busy. And I think it was like God said, you know what, everybody needs to stop being busy. We need to start paying attention to nature. We need
Yep.
to start paying attention to ourselves,
Family to family.
our family, to others. We need to start being kind again.
And it was also a way for people were forced to activate their creative juices, right? Look at how many businesses were started. A lot of people took advantage of this time to start things that they felt like they needed to do a long time ago, and
Mm-hmm.
they just was held up. So
Yeah, that's amazing. This conversation has been so good.
again, thank you.
It has been so good, because it just shows that we as women and Black women, we don't have to just sit and accept anything for our lives. It tells me that, as long as we can give ourselves and believe in ourselves, and not necessarily have that external, because a lot of times people don't have that external validation, and they have is all they got is them and God. And that's really all you need, right?
Mhm.
Like, you really need you and God to try to do, to be. And I think that's what you did. And I'm so inspired by you. I'm inspired by your journey. I think you are amazing. I just like, I'm floored about the 25 years and counting in the military, and how you just continued on, raising the bar, not only for yourself, but for other women to see you and to say, you know what, if this woman can do it, so can I.
Right. And that's how I look at other people. If they can do it, so can I. Even when it's challenging, again, there's a lesson and there's a lesson. So,
Mm-hmm.
and that goes to the conversations we have with ourselves, the affirmations. What are you speaking over your life? What do you believe for yourself? It all goes back to the belief. What do you believe and truly feel that you deserve? In spite of the roadblocks, what do you feel that you deserve? So
That is amazing. What is your affirmation for yourself? Like, when you get in those moments, what do you say to yourself? Like, when you're trying to be bold, when you have a pivot moment, you know that you got to pivot. What is it the thing that you say to yourself that inspires you
oh
to
wow, I say so much. And look, I'm even going to show you. You probably can't see my phone, but it's even my screensaver. Even when I'm coaching or whatever, I make sure they put whatever it is you believe or think about yourself. You have to put it where you
To
Put it where
see.
you can see it. And not only put it where you can see it, but you speak it every day. My bathroom mirror is covered with stickies. But when I'm in those valley moments, I am enough. I can do all things through Christ with strengthening me. It's my season. It's my turn. I am a winner. I am destined for this. There's so many things that I speak over my life and I believe. And here's the thing. There's a lot of times when I don't believe it. Those moments when you don't believe it, you still have to speak it until you start to believe it.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So I am enough. I am worthy. I mean, it's so many different things.
Yeah. That's good. I have thoroughly enjoyed this conversation.
Thank
This
you.
conversation about being bold, being brave, being confident in your power to pivot. Kai has given us so many nuggets tonight about how she was bold, how she was brave, and how she was confident in her power to pivot. She has pivoted so many times and she is yet still pivoting. I cannot wait to see what you're doing next. I know whatever it is going to be powerful. It's going to be inspirational and it's going to be bold and confident. And it's just something that I can't wait to see you do. I know you got a book coming out. When should we be looking for this book to come out, madam?
Oh, um, it will probably be out before the new year. That is the goal, to have it out. There will be some tours and some different things coming up. A lot of amazing things. So if you all want to keep up with me, make sure you follow me, send me a friend request, all those good things. There's a lot in the pipeline. I'm grateful. Sometimes I pinch myself and like God is, we all question, right? But again, at the end of the day, God will put you in positions to do what you're not only destined to do, but again, what your purpose to do. So the book is coming. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of things. Just trust me.
Well, I know. I'm not, honey. I'm not even tripping. I know what you got going on is going to be amazing. Where can we follow you? I know on IG, you're I_Kai Patterson. Um, what other places can we follow you?
So I am on Facebook as Kai Patterson. There's several on there, but you will, if you've seen my face here, you'll see me. It's Kai Patterson on Facebook. I recently started dibbling and dabbling in TikTok a little bit. I have not gotten even close to, I don't want to use the word master, but I have been playing on TikTok a little bit. Still a lot I have to learn. Um, and yes, so my website, definitely go to kinabella.com if you're looking for some amazing, comfortable, cute, classy luxury loungewear. That's Keenabella, KEENABELA.com. I would love your support there with the clothing line as well, with my incredible and amazing friend, Delasu, again, who's the visionary and the designer. But yeah, there are some things coming down the pipeline. So please stay tuned. I would love your support. And if there's anything that I can do to assist and help and support others, I love to do that.
I know, I know. Thank you so much to our Instagram fam as well as our
Yeah.
Facebook group that have been on live tonight with us. Thank you so much, Kai, for this conversation. We have to do it again. I can't wait for your book to come out. I'll definitely do a review with my group. You let me know what I can do to help you promote it, and I'm there for you, sweetie.
Thank you so much again. I absolutely love the conversation, love your energy. I loved your energy from the first time I met you at an event here in Atlanta.
Yeah.
So I look forward to us continuing to do some things together and change lives any way that we can.
Absolutely. And to everybody at Heal Black Joy, thank you again for tuning in tonight. As always, we're on our Facebook Live as well as Instagram Live. This feed will also be on YouTube and LinkedIn on Saturday. And look forward to September. I'm launching our Heal Black Joy podcast. I can't wait. I'm super excited. We'll get season 1, 2, as well as this current season 3 on as well. So I appreciate you guys for always supporting everything that we do here at Heal Black Joy, and have a very good night. What you want to say?
I am on LinkedIn. You mentioned LinkedIn. I am on LinkedIn as Kai Fluid. F
Kai
Fluid. Fluitt. Kai Fluitt.
Fluitt.
ITT.
All right. I put it in the chat for everybody. Make sure you go follow her at all those places. Again, thank you guys for tuning in tonight. As always, remember to heal Black joy. And I can't wait to see you again next Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You guys
Thank
have a good
you.
night.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.